What happens to mass murder when the calendar flips and everyone decides it's time to heal? After World War II, that wasn't a moral debate, it was a logistical one. Millions of victims, mountains of paperwork, and perpetrators who relied on a single strategy blend into normal life and let time erase accountability. That is why Nazi hunters exist, not as vigilantes, but as historians, detectives, and lawyers armed with documents instead of guns. Their victories were quiet, a name matched to a list, a signature tied back to a killing system thought forgotten. The mission was never about revenge, it was about proof. Because when genocide becomes something that happened, the lesson is simple and dangerous. Wait long enough, and you're fine. Number 9. Simon Wiesenthal. If the phrase Nazi hunter has a face in popular culture, it belongs to Simon Wiesenthal. A Holocaust survivor, Wiesenthal became a relentless advocate for tracking down perpetrators when much of the world was eager to move on. His impact wasn't limited to individual cases. His real contribution was cultural. He made the idea of continued pursuit morally unavoidable. He transformed forget it into not yet. Historians still debate the extent of his direct involvement in specific captures, which is normal in a field shaped by ego, politics, and fragmented records. But as a global symbol of post-war accountability, Wiesenthal remains inseparable from the concept itself. Number 8. Serge and Beate Klarsfeld. Some Nazi hunters worked quietly. Serge Klarsfeld and Beate Klarsfeld did the opposite. Their work focused on documenting Holocaust victims and identifying perpetrators, particularly those involved in deportations from occupied France. They combined archival research with public confrontation, media pressure, and legal persistence. What made them effective was not just evidence collection, but strategy. They understood that shame and visibility can force action when legal technicalities are used as shields. They helped establish a modern model of accountability, combine documentation with activism, and never let institutions control the narrative. For the Klarsfelds, Nazi hunting was not a chapter. It became a lifetime posture. Number 7. Ephraim Zuroff. If you've ever seen headlines announcing one of the last Nazi war crimes cases, Ephraim Zuroff is often nearby. As a leading figure associated with the Simon Wiesenthal Center, Zuroff spent decades pushing investigations forward and maintaining public pressure to pursue remaining perpetrators. His argument has always been simple and stubborn: age does not erase guilt, and late trials still matter because they establish legal truth. Without accountability, denial grows louder. The absence of trials allows societies to quietly reframe perpetrators as ordinary people who were just doing paperwork. Zuroff's work exists to prevent that drift. Number 6. Fritz Bauer. Not all Nazi hunters chased fugitives across borders. Fritz Bauer hunted from within institutions that often preferred silence. A German Jewish prosecutor who returned to post-war West Germany, Bauer pushed relentlessly for accountability at a time when former Nazis still occupied positions inside the legal system. He feared information leaks and political interference, so he often acted cautiously and, at times, indirectly. Bauer is widely credited with providing crucial information that helped locate Adolf Eichmann in Argentina, leading to Eichmann's capture and trial. He also played a central role in driving Germany's broader legal reckoning, including landmark Auschwitz-related prosecutions. If Wiesenthal was the public face of the hunt, Bauer was the institutional nightmare, the proof that law can pursue the past even when the present resists. Number 5. Tuvia Friedman. Tuvia Friedman represents the least glamorous but most indispensable side of Nazi hunting. His work revolved around slow, methodical documentation, assembling dossier, cross-checking testimonies, preserving transport lists, and following bureaucratic trails that most people would have considered dead ends. This was not dramatic manhunts or courtroom theatrics. It was the patient reconstruction of truth, one name and one document at a time. Friedman ran a documentation institute in Haifa and devoted much of his life to identifying Nazi perpetrators who believed their past had been safely buried under time, distance, and administrative chaos. He was among those credited with keeping investigative pressure alive in the search for Adolf Eichmann. at a time when many governments had quietly deprioritized the pursuit of former Nazis in favor of political stability. His approach closely resembles what we now call open-source intelligence. The sources were paper archives, survivor statements, train schedules, and administrative records, materials perpetrators assumed would either disappear or be dismissed as irrelevant. Friedman understood something crucial: genocidal systems depend on paperwork, and that same paperwork can be turned into a weapon against those who created it. Time did not erase these records, it preserved them. Number 4. Eli Rosenbaum. When people imagine Nazi hunters, they usually picture Europe. Eli Rosenbaum exposed a different reality. Many perpetrators and collaborators rebuilt their lives thousands of miles away, including in the United States, often under assumed identities or sanitized personal histories. Rosenbaum spent decades working inside the U.S. Department of Justice, pursuing denaturalization and deportation cases against individuals who had concealed Nazi-era crimes or affiliations when entering the country. These cases rarely resembled dramatic war crimes trials. Instead, they were legal reckonings rooted in immigration law, fraud statutes, and documentary evidence. The logic was devastatingly simple. Citizenship obtained through lies is not permanent. If you entered a country by falsifying your past, you do not get to enjoy the protections and respectability that citizenship provides. Justice, in these cases, came not through spectacle, but through revocation, through the removal of the safe life perpetrators believed they had earned. There is a bitter symmetry here. Many Nazis relied on paperwork to carry out genocide. Rosenbaum used paperwork to dismantle the lives they built afterward. Number 3. Jan Sen. Jan Sen played a foundational role in early investigations at Auschwitz-Birkenau and in preparing legal cases against camp leadership, including work tied to the prosecution of Rudolf H., the camp's commandant. His efforts came at a time when physical evidence still existed in abundance, but public willingness to confront it was far from guaranteed. Sen understood that Nazi hunting was not only about prosecution, but about preservation. He treated crime scenes as historical proof engines, meticulously documenting structures, remnants, and forensic details before they could be altered, destroyed, or reinterpreted. His work helped translate survivor testimony into legally usable evidence, anchoring memory to material fact. This mattered because Sen anticipated the future. He understood that denial would not disappear with perpetrators. It would evolve. His investigations ensured that future generations would face not just stories, but evidence strong enough to withstand distortion, revisionism, and political convenience. Number 2. Benjamin Ferencz. Benjamin Ferencz is best known as the chief prosecutor at the Einsatzgruppen trial, where mobile killing units responsible for mass shootings across Eastern Europe were brought to justice. These units murdered more than 1 million people, often in forests, ravines, and open fields, far from camps, but no less systematically. Ferencz's work redefined accountability. He proved that genocide does not require personal brutality alone. Administrative participation, command structures, and coordinated execution of policy are crimes in themselves. The defense of "I was just doing my job" was not a shield, it was an admission. Beyond the courtroom, Ferencz became a lifelong advocate for international law and the principle that aggressive war and mass murder must be prosecutable crimes. His death in 2023 marked the fading of living memory from the Nuremberg era, intensifying the importance of legal records and historical documentation. With witnesses gone, the written record becomes the final line of defense against denial. Number 1. Germany's Central Office. Not every Nazi hunter was an individual. The Central Office of the State Justice Administrations for the Investigation of National Socialist Crimes, founded in 1958 in Ludwigsburg, became one of the most important engines of late-stage accountability. Its role was unglamorous but decisive, gathering evidence, coordinating investigations, and connecting crimes to suspects across jurisdictions. It helped enable modern prosecutions that recognized complicity itself as criminal, even for those in support roles within extermination systems. In simple terms, the office existed to defeat the most common escape plan of all: wait out attention, outlive witnesses, and let records decay. History doesn't fade on its own. People choose whether it's remembered or erased. These cases remind us that accountability only exists when someone refuses to stop asking questions. If you value videos that dig past the surface and expose how power, memory, and justice really work, like and subscribe.